What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about somebody who's probably not the biggest name in QAnon, but ever since his death he keeps coming up more and more, and he's probably one of the most requested topics I've had. I'm of course talking about
Issac Kappy.
Actor named Issac Kappy.
Issac Kappy.
Isaac Kappy.
Perhaps this was a clue that he was going to Kappy.
Yep, today we're going to be going over and fact-checking the story around Issac Kappy, as well as going into some of the background details, because I honestly think it's an important story on how people can fall down the Q hole. If you do like my content, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for helping me grow my channel to where it is. But with that said, let's jump into it. If you're not familiar with Issac Kappy, he's a D-list actor who had small parts in movies like Thor and TV shows like The Vanderpump Rules. And like a lot of people that end up falling down the rabbit hole, it doesn't seem like he was very politically engaged before he found the QAnon movement. But on July 28th of 2018, he made his first public post talking about giving a voice to the voiceless and using the "Where We Go One, We Go All" hashtag used by followers of Q. And then he also started doing live streams on Periscope talking about things like this.
Is Oprah a pedophile? Well, let's see. Hanks, Weinstein, I mean, the company she keeps, as rich as she is, I have a feeling she is very high up in the cult. And this, make no mistake, this is a cult. There is a widespread cult that is worldwide. And it's fucking bad, guys. It's bad.
Now, the main thing people bring up when they talk about Issac Kappy is that he exposed Hollywood, and for that reason they had him suicided. Now, we'll talk about the circumstances around his death, but first I want to talk about the evidence and the reasons he gives for coming out against the Hollywood cabal and how he's going to expose them. Now, a little bit of backstory. Isaac was at least somewhat friendly with Seth Green and his wife Claire, and Paris Jackson, Michael Jackson's daughter. They would all get together with some other friends at least somewhat frequently and have game nights. Now, according to Isaac, it was at one of these game nights when Seth tried to recruit him into the cabal.
Well, the first time it really hit me was at Seth's. We went over there, played Mafia. It's a role-playing game that we play. And at the end of the night, it was me, Seth, and his brother-in-law. And Seth turned to me and opened up this secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children."
Okay, well that seems like a weird way to recruit one of your friends into a satanic cabal. But luckily we have a long interview he did with Alex Jones where he elaborates a little further on the situation. The first thing he brings up as to why he came forward is not that his friend has tried to recruit him into a cabal, but instead he brings up the James Gunn tweet scandal.
The James Gunn stuff came up. Like, I've been watching these people talk and talk and talk. They're liars, and the root of it is that they're pedophiles. James Gunn is a pedophile. And I know because his friends are pedophiles.
Now after that is when he brings up the Seth Green story, but this had just all came out when this interview was done, so I think Alex was a little worried he was getting trolled, so he actually pushes back a little bit, and I don't think Kappy was prepared for that.
What is the heart of the matter? Because you've named some names, but when I come back,
Sure.
I mean, I just want to, without getting into names, what they said to you, why you think this is going on. And we know it's going on. I just know about the names of the people you're saying. Like, why would they take you? You call yourself an obscure actor. I mean, you're a successful actor. Why were they trying to recruit you?
Well, this is why. So Claire and I, we were friends. And when the Pizzagate thing was breaking, I was reading all the Podesta emails, and I was like, oh, my God, this is crazy. And I brought it up with Claire, and I was sharing with her, and she was like, oh, that's interesting.
Wait, hold up now. You shared a conspiracy theory with your non-pilled friend and they acted a little bit put off? Isn't that how most normal people would react to something like that? Hearing that Hillary Clinton is some conspiracy cabal queen? What else do you have?
Back to that. You were talking about Pizzagate to this girl, you know, this other Hollywood actress. And then all of a sudden she goes, oh, and then what happens next?
All right, here's the data dump, okay? Let's just be really concise about it. Seth Green, at his house, after a party, we were all kind of drinking, pulled back a secret bookshelf and said to me, "This is where we keep the children." Okay? At dinner, mind you, after that experience, I tried to block it out and just laugh it off.
Wait, hold on now. Wait a minute. Your friend told you that they had a secret lair for child slaves, and you figured just laugh it off? Yeah, everybody's got their quirks, I guess. So, it seems a bit strange there, bud. The next story takes place a month later when he's having dinner with the child slave lair-having people. And this is what happened, apparently.
Seth tells me at the dinner table, we need to have a talk about chicken. And in case you're not aware, chicken is a pedophile code word for very young child. He told me he's into kids. So, like, I don't know what more data people want.
I swear to you, these people are going to make it where anytime someone talks about their lunch, that means they did something with children. But anyway, I was not at this dinner, but I know that Seth Green has a long-running show called Robot Chicken. Just going to throw that out there that maybe that's what he was talking about. But it's at this point in the interview, because Kappy has given Alex nothing, that he starts to get a little bit salty.
How is him saying chicken? How is that kids? Because I understand maybe they thought you were into Pizzagate. They thought you were funny. They knew you. They were teasing you. Or maybe it was Sacha Baron Cohen. Hold on.
Alex,
Sacha Baron Cohen might have been videoing it as a joke. I mean, how do you know? What I'm saying is, when did he actually say something?
He said it at that conversation. We're already eating dinner, okay? So ask yourself, why would someone say we need to have a conversation about chicken?
I don't know how someone saying chicken is that.
Can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Alex Jones. And honestly, if you watch the rest of the interview, which I will have linked down below, it's pretty clear that Kappy's just kind of shooting from the hip and making it up as he goes. At one point, he talks about a guy who said, I like to spend weekends without my phone. And that was clearly code for he wants to have a conversation without the NSA listening.
What people said to you trying to induct you into this, according to what you said?
Sure. It was kind of a roundabout thing. I got a link to an article. I clicked on the article, and there was actually, the first comment was from the Illuminati Facebook, which I thought was kind of hokey at first. And then I looked at the comment, and then I went to their page and looked at other comments. I was like, these seemed very, very tailored specifically towards me. And the one that stuck out the most was something to the like of, join us, we'll give you $250,000 a year and any car you want, live anywhere in the world. And then the next day at a party, this other guy's like, so he starts talking about cars. It's like, so what kind of car do you drive? I love the Teslas. The Teslas are great. What do you drive? I said, I drive a Ferrari, just being cheeky. And he was like, no, you drive a Hyundai Elantra, which is my actual car. So I was like, okay, this guy knows what car I drive. There was the reference earlier, like there's no way this is a coincidence. And then he also said, I like to spend entire weekends without my phone. Like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I was like, oh, he wants to go have a convo without our phones because he's aware that the NSA is recording everything.
Did you guys catch all that? This is a guy who screams on live streams about Oprah, Tom Hanks, Hillary Clinton, all these people. And when asked, hey, why do you think that? He says, well, my Facebook is geared towards my interest, and a guy likes to spend weekends without his phone. Honestly, before I started researching this, I didn't really know much about Issac Kappy. I figured I'd just find that he was a total grifter. But after looking into it more, it's pretty clear that he was a true believer. Now, he might have wanted to make some money, no doubt, but he definitely was all the way pilled. That's for sure. All you have to do is look at what happened in his personal life and how this whole Q obsession helped destroy it. As you can imagine, accusing your friends of being in a satanic cabal puts a strain on the relationship. But not only did Isaac have a falling out with Seth and his wife, but he apparently tried to choke out Paris Jackson at their last game night get-together. She was so scared of him, she moved out of her house and hired personal security guards. Isaac actually continued to text Paris after this incident, and she responded for a while because she said it sounded like he was coming unhinged and she thought he might be suicidal. But she eventually blocked his number. He also sent letters to Seth and his wife saying how much he loved them, while publicly claiming they were involved in all these terrible things. The letters will be down in the description. They're a pretty interesting read, but he's mostly positive to people he thinks are child murderers. He finishes one of them by telling Claire to tickle Seth till he pees his pants and to give their dogs a good snuggle for him. Know that God gives second chances. Now, as far as conspiracies around Kappy's death, the thing I probably heard the most from the QAnon/truthers is that Tom Hanks killed him for speaking out against him.
Issac Kappy, who was a whistleblower on the satanic pedophiles, exposing them, when he was murdered last May, in May of 2019, Tom Hanks posted a picture only a few weeks earlier of a glove right off of Route 66, which just happened to also be the same place where the same road that Issac Kappy was murdered at.
As a former long-haul truck driver, I had to laugh at this one a little bit. They bring up Tom Hanks' Instagram post that shows a glove, and the caption is, Route 66 roadkill? I hope not. Now, like always, there's a couple issues here. One is that Instagram post was a month and a half before Kappy died. And two, they make a big deal out of the Route 66 part because Kappy jumped off a bridge onto I-40, which also intersects with Route 66. So they're like, oh my God, they're the same. But somebody might want to tell him that Route 66 covers almost 3,000 miles. Can you believe it? He died on that road that goes across 2/3 of the United States. And this other guy mentioned that really famous road one time. It must be connected. Now, as far as the circumstances around his actual death, according to local officials, not only did 2 teenagers witness him jump off, but they actually tried to stop him from jumping. I mean, this one's just cut and dry. There's no conspiracy here. Isaac wasn't some famous actor out here exposing all the big names. Hell, he had barely worked in the industry since 2011. Here's his entire IMDb page. He's had 2 small roles since 2011, and most of the roles even before that were B-movies and just small parts. He was just another person who had unfortunately fallen for the propaganda. Him exposing people was just him repeating all the same bullshit that everybody else in QAnon does. And honestly, the saddest part is, after reading the letters that he sent to Seth and watching his live streams, you could tell that he definitely missed his friends. But because of this crazy conspiracy that it was dead certain was real, he lost his friends, he probably lost some family members, and at the end of the day, all he had left was these live streams where he talked to these other QAnon people. That all it was calling this person and that person a pedophile. And that is no way to live. Now, a lot has been made of Kappy's final live stream in which he says, I'm not suicidal. But what you gotta understand is he had been on this live stream for a while talking about how he messed up and this and that, and someone says, you sound suicidal. And in response to that, he says, no, I'm not suicidal.
I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. Did I do it for money? Yeah, man, it's bad.
Now, obviously, what the Q and Truther people want to do with this clip is make it seem like he came on and he was like, I'm not suicidal, like, if something happens, sound the alarm, but that's just not the case whatsoever. And I think the reason this has resurfaced the way it has is because of platforms like TikTok, where it's just a short clip and you can just post one of his rants where he calls X, Y, or Z person a pedophile, and then follow that up with, by the way, did you know he killed himself? And he said he wasn't suicidal, and then bam, the video's over. Play that 10,000 times on TikTok, and now everybody's like, oh, well, this guy, this famous actor guy, you know, the story just gets totally skewed when that's, in reality, that's not the case whatsoever once you dig into it. Now, when I watch that live stream, what I see is a guy who's completely isolated himself from all the people that really care about him, which is exactly what cults do. They take people down a rabbit hole, far away from anybody who actually cares about them. The story of Issac Kappy is not some kind of conspiracy. It's a cautionary tale of what happens when you get way too wrapped up in this stuff. And hopefully, if you're a follower of Q and you're watching this, you'll understand that. Before we finish up, I want to give a big thank you to Gabby and Leanne who signed up to the progressive tier of my Patreon. Thank you guys so much. You have no idea how much it means to me. If you guys like what I do, want to support my content so I can keep making more of it in the future, my Patreon will be the first link in the description. But if you can't do that, I'll definitely settle for a like, a share, a subscribe by hitting the bell for notifications, all of that jazz. Also, I will be finishing up the Fall of the Cabal series. I just needed a little bit of a break from Janet Ossibard and her absurdity. And my live streaming gear should be coming in tomorrow because last video I said I was going to start live streaming, but I was grossly underprepared and did not know everything that went into it. But I should have that setup done in the next couple days, so I will start live streaming. Follow me on my other social medias for updates on that. I have posts on TikTok a lot. I have a Twitter, Instagram. That'll all be down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and peace.